Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for the welcome to the Daily Millwall for Tuesday, the 31st of January 2023. And that sound we just heard was a sound of the transfer window creaking closed. It's done, it's dusted, it's finished. That's it. We've got what we've got now until the end of the season. Injury permitting, of course. And other teams are in the same situation as us. But yesterday we were asking, where is Watmore? Were you worried? Were you worried? I wasn't worried. I was never worried. Because it's come to pass. Millwall announced Duncan Watmore signing, obviously. Millwall Football Club is delighted to announce the signing of Duncan Watmore from Middlesbrough for an undisclosed fee. 28-year-old joins the Lions to provide more attacking talent in Gary Rowett's squad. Beginning his career in the academy at Manchester United, Watmore moved to Altrincham at the age of 16 and made his professional debut in the FA Cup for the non-league side. Snapped up by Sunderland in 2013, Duncan then spent 7 years on Wearside with a loan spell at Hibernian included and earned caps for England's under-20 and under-21 outfits. Not bad. Leaving the Black Cats in the winter of 2020, Watmore then found a home at the Riverside Stadium, becoming a fan favourite by regularly chipping in with goals and assists. He's finished as Borough's top scorer in 2020-21. The Cheshire-born forward, who can play across the front line, now becomes a line for the foreseeable future. Nice one. Sweet as a nut, done and dusted. Deal has been done. So let's move on to this from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Gary Rowett talking about a few things, and this is the first thing we've got. We didn't think he was a player who would be available. Millwall manager Rowett on landing Borough attacker Watmore. Millwall manager Gary Rowett has talked to the South London press about adding Middlesbrough's Duncan Watmore to his playing ranks. The 28-year-old was due to be a free agent with the Teessiders at the end of the season, but Watmore broke onto the scene as an exciting prospect at Sunderland, has now made a permanent switch to Millwall, but the Lions have not revealed the length of his contract. Watmore scored 21 times in 97 appearances for Borough and previously bagged 8 goals in 87 games for the Black Cats. He needs just 2 more appearances to hit the 100 milestone in the Championship. Rowett said, Middlesbrough have changed formation and he's probably played a little less football. But he's still been one of their first subs off the bench. He's still started games for them. He's done really well. He scored 5 goals before Christmas. That equates to double figures over the course of the season. This is exactly the type of player that we're looking to bring in. Someone who can play wide or play a little bit more central. Someone who can score goals and add a lot of other qualities. He's hard working. He's a runner. He's a really honest player with really good skills. He fits what we want in a group. We're a hard working team. We're going to press and we're going to chase and we're going to harry and make it uncomfortable for teams if we can. Duncan fits all those parameters and he adds to the potential of goals. Burke, he's the same. He gives us real flexibility. He's a player I think we didn't think would be available, but once we found out he was, then it was a very easy conversation. Duncan is out of contract in the summer, so he has to look at his own future as well. It works. It's fell into place really nicely. Hopefully he can have a really positive impact for Ross. Watmore scored 9 goals in 30 Championship matches for Borough in the 2020-21 season. That would have been pretty similar to someone like Jeffress last season, said Rowett. We spoke about goals from different areas of the pitch and also adding goals in this window. I don't think it's easy to go and add a goal scorer that's absolutely going to guarantee that. So Duncan from a wider position. He's got really good numbers in those aspects. The signings fit the profile of the team, they fit the character of the team as well. And it's something that goes unnoticed. We had to do a lot of work on all of those aspects. Indeed. So Gary Rowett there, bigging up the signings. As you think he would, he has to make a big noise about them before they actually start playing. Because they might not turn out to be great, I don't know. But they might be amazing. And then they speak for themselves. But here we go, again from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Nice action shot there of Oliver Burke. Millwall thinking outside the box in January window, as boss Gary Rowett discusses Oliver Burke's loan return. Gary Rowett has no doubt about the quality that Oliver Burke can add to his Millwall squad. The Scottish attacker, 25, signed for the Lions on loan from Werder Bremen yesterday. Rowett worked with Burke in the second half of last season, a former Forest and RB Leipzig player, signing then on a temporary deal from Sheffield United. And the Lions chief has been a long-term admirer of Burke. Rowett told the South London press, "He's a player that I tried to sign previously at other clubs, and he fits what we want for how we play now. Also, we wanted to sign him in the summer. The reason I wanted to sign him is because he just started to build that extra bit of confidence with us. He scored a couple of goals and statistically showed that he can affect games in the final third. He's just that type of player that we haven't really got. We haven't got that player with just blistering pace that can get us off the pitch in a tight game and open it up. He's a player I just need to find him space as a manager, and he'll do the rest to get him enjoying his football again. When the opportunity came up, it was one we were very keen to try and to explore. We were very close to signing him in the summer. We thought we virtually had it done, and Werder Bremen came in last minute and offered him a deal that was financially more attractive than ours. It was the Bundesliga as well. I always view things as a player as well. If I look at it as a player, I think he probably had to take that opportunity. The fact that we were then able to take him 4, 5, 6 months later is a no-brainer. If his qualities are right then, his qualities are right now. Sometimes as a club, we have to think outside the box. People will be sat there saying, why aren't we signing a goal scorer, a 15 or 20 goal striker? Well, that's very difficult for us to do. Otherwise, we'd simply just do it. And we have to find players that just need a little bit of a different environment, different circumstances, and different instructions to try and add most of the qualities we're looking for. Werder Bremen technical director Clemens Fritz had been quoted in December urging Burke to produce more in the Bremen shirt. He needs to show his abilities better and more frequently, otherwise he would find it hard to beat off the competition for a starting slot, said Fritz. You got to beat them off, ain't you? Rowett said. What you do is you look at a team in the Bundesliga and to get where they want to get to, and they've got a very strict way of playing, and players have to fit into that. I always feel that someone like Burke probably needs a little bit more freedom to play, so everyone judges it differently. You can only judge it on your system for Werder Bremen. It looks to me like it's been easier for him to come on and impact games. I'm not there, so I don't know what each manager and coach wants, but you respect how each team plays in some ways. That is the type of player we try to get. Not having done quite what they can do, and it's up to us to try and get it out of them. I've probably spent 10 years trying to do that. That's kind of the parameters to get a player who could be a top player but hasn't quite done it in that last 12 months. Otherwise, you can take someone who's done that okay at lower levels. Then it's the challenge of whether they can do what you want them to do, and there's that real lack of surety. What has happened to Ollie in the last 6 months is between him and Werder Bremen. We're grateful they've let him come out on loan. Hopefully we can help them by giving him a little bit more regular game time and getting a little bit more of that ability out of him. Indeed. Well, he's right there. We can't get the finished products. We can't get the super duper firing on all cylinders finished products. So what we've got to look for is players who have the pedigree, they have the form, or they had it previously. So like you've just seen, we signed Duncan Watmore. He started out at Man United. Didn't make it there, went away, built himself back up, played for England youth teams. So at one time, in age-restricted games, he was one of the best players in England. Or one of the best English players in England, you could say that. And again with Oliver Burke. He's commanded a lot of large transfer fees in the past. So he's definitely got something about him. And we need to try and do that. And that's kind of the situation. If you've seen that film about baseball called Moneyball, based on a book called Moneyball, about a real life situation where the Oakland A's won the World Series by buying a load of kind of weird reject players and making them into a team. And that's kind of what we got to do. And we'll see how we get on. Now, no one left. After the two signings coming in, I thought, well, maybe someone will leave. Wasn't too sure. Maybe Bury might get out on loan, because is he going to get any game time now? He's barely getting any before. But then I remembered, well, I think loans can still happen, just not in the Premier League. I think you can loan players, but I'm not sure, because they keep changing the bloody rules. FIFA and UEFA keep sticking their noses in. So we'll see, but I think maybe youth loans are still available, but other loans are not. It's hard to tell, but this was published this morning, but it's been confirmed no one's left out on loan. So, or no one's gone. George Evans hasn't gone. No one's gone. We haven't sold Zion Fleming, which was being touted, which is ridiculous. And Danny McNamara hasn't gone to Fulham, so that's all good. This is from SouthwarkNews.co.uk. Outgoings unlikely as Mill prepare for transfer deadline day. The Lions have already allowed 4 players to leave the then in January transfer window. Garrett has confirmed that Millwall are unlikely to sanction any further departures in the final hours of the January transfer window. The Lions sold Isaac Alofi, Aidan Muller and Bisart Tobologh to Stockport County, Dundalk and Bromley, respectively, while Benik Hvid was released from his contract and allowed to join Hatter Club earlier this month. There has also been interest in midfielder George Evans, although a move ultimately failed to materialise despite his lack of game time at the Den. Despite resigning Oliver Burke on loan from Werder Bremen and moving nearer to a permanent move from Middlesbrough Duncan Watmore, which of course we know is now confirmed, Millwall are unlikely to move anyone else on deadline day, and Rowett is expecting to keep his squad intact until the end of the campaign. I think at this stage we're unlikely to let anyone out anyway, he told us at then. We let Benik out and we let Isaac out. Hayden's gone out. I think the reality is that we won't be looking for anyone else to go out, and we're not sat here having that debate internally. Our understanding and our plan will be, at this moment in time, that we're not looking at it as an option. If we do strengthen, then that's something we might discuss, but it's not really on my radar at the minute. So yeah, that's why I thought when we brought the 2 players in, okay, is anyone going to leave? But it hasn't happened yet. Like I said, I don't really know what's going on with the loan options, so maybe that could still happen. Maybe Joe Wright might get out on loan. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so we got 2 in and no one out today on January transfer window final day. Now, we have this also from SouthwarkNews.co.uk. Injury update ahead of the Sunderland game, which is close to looking to being nearly sold out. It might get sold out in advance of the game. I'm not too sure. So if you wait until Saturday to buy your ticket, you might be either very limited on all your options, or you might have no option at all. So here we go. Millwall boss issues pre-Sunderland injury update with positive news. Gary Rowett is expecting Murray Wallace to be available this weekend after missing the Lions win at Cardiff City. Mill are set to face Sunderland with a fully fit squad except for their 2 long-term absentees. Aidomo Emakhu is yet to make his first appearance for the Lions after injuring his quad just weeks after moving to the den from Shamrock Rovers, and he is expected to miss the next few weeks as a result. More on that later. Tyler Berry is also sidelined with a hip injury that he picked up against Sheffield United at the start of January, ruling him out until the later stages of February at the earliest. Murray Wallace has returned to training ahead of Saturday's clash with the Black Cats, having missed Millwall's 1-0 win against Cardiff City after cutting his foot in training. Other than that, manager Gary Rowett said that there are no other concerns, giving him a number of options going into the game this weekend. At the moment, I think we're alright. I don't think there are too many not training, he told us it then. It's more or less Tyler and Aidomo are the ones that are out. Tyler's had quite a slow return, but it's a decent injury at the time. I think the plan was that he would have a 6 to 8 week injury. It was never a quick one, so we'll have to nurse him back in the right way, and hopefully he'll be stronger for it. Murray's been back in training for a few days. I think he's not having that game time has helped that, and that's that. He's had a cut on the top of his foot that got infected, and that's cleared up with antibiotics now. So he's feeling better, and hopefully that'll be that. Oliver Burke will be available to make his second debut for the club after he rejoined on loan from Werder Bremen yesterday, while Duncan Watmore will be able to play his first minutes in the Millwall shirt against his former club, if the Lions can get the deal over the line before tonight's deadline. Yeah, done. So they can go straight into the squad, and I think they're both match fit. They've been training and featuring in match day squads. Some playing more minutes than the others, so they should be fine to go. Hopefully they can make an immediate impact. Although I don't think Burke, in terms of impact, I think he was better in away games, especially at places where the pitch was bigger. I think on that little den pitch, he doesn't do too well. That's no reflection on him, but there's not much space there to run in behind. Now, so obviously, Kevin Nisbet. Let's talk about him. I thought we were done and dusted with him, but something has happened. I think I should tell you about. Now, I told you the other day that he played on Saturday for Hibernian. So he did go back up there and he did play for Hibernian. He wasn't removed somewhere else. He started on the bench. He came off and scored a goal within 5 minutes of coming on against Aberdeen in I believe a 6-0 win. So all's well and good. He did all right. No problem. Now, Hibernian had a game today. They had to travel north to the Northlands, play Ross County. Kevin Nisbet starts that game. Kevin Nisbet, after 24 minutes, hobbles up with what is suspected to be a hamstring injury. I kid you not. Did we or did we not miss a bullet with that one? Well, let's find out. This is from the Scottish Sun. The Scottish Sun. So yeah, here we go at thescottishsun.co.uk. Kevin Nisbet's injury woes continue. So they actually signed the player during half time, which was weird. But just minutes after losing the luckless Kevin Nisbet to injury, the Scotland man rebuffed an approach from Millwall only this week. More on that after the Championship side had agreed a fee. But he was left cursing his luck when he limped off the Hibs what appeared to be a hamstring problem during tonight's Premiership clash with Ross County in the Islands. So there you go. And then they talk about the other player that they signed. And that's it, yeah. Right? So, Nisbet got injured. Now, they say in the story here, rebuffed an approach from Millwall only this week. So the official line is, he's turned us down to go back up north. The rumours are that he failed a medical. We may have some kind of semi-confirmation of that. Because I saw someone put up a quote from their manager, and I thought, where's that from? Is that a real quote? I've got to find that. I found it. It's from BBC, and it was from a post-match interview, which is quoted from BBC Scotland on BBC Sport, right? So bbc.co.uk Sport. Johnson coy over Nisbet deal collapse. So this is from the 28th. Hibs manager Lee Johnson suggests the collapse of Kevin Nisbet's transfer to Millwall was bittersweet. Sometimes it happens in football, the player doesn't get the vibe for a club where it can't be worked out for whatever reason, he tells BBC Scotland. The reason he is on the bench because he hasn't trained all week. He's had a bit of a knee nudge last week, dead leg. Asked if it was the injury that caused the problem with the move to London. So I don't know if they're talking about the injury there, the dead leg, or the one before, the knee injury that he's just come back from. It's ambiguous, isn't it? Asked if it was the injury that caused the problem with the move to London, Johnson replies, well, there's obviously going to be a deficiency in muscle strength based on the return to play, but he's fit, he's mobile, he's strong, and he's scoring goals. So if we reverse engineer that, so he's saying, well, obviously there's going to be a deficiency in muscle strength because he's coming back from playing. He's coming back from not playing and he's returning to play. So it suggests, like, well, obviously he's going to have a problem with muscle strength. If we reverse engineer that, that seems, well, Millwall medical team highlighted that there was a deficiency in muscle strength. And then Johnson's like, well, yeah, duh, he's just come back from injury. He needs to build it up. So that suggests that that is what failed the medical. Well, not failed the medical, then that was what now we don't know. Because obviously Millwall are not going to come out. They don't want to put this out there because maybe the geezer still wants to move. Maybe they might go back in for him in the summer. They don't want to shit all over it. But this is kind of a bit naughty by the Hibernian manager because obviously Kevin Nisbet scores goals for him, doing well for him. He probably doesn't want him to leave, even though there's a lot of money coming in. He might be able to spend some of it. So if he says, well, yeah, he failed the medical, but doesn't say he failed the medical, then other teams won't come in for him, and he gets to keep him. Happy days. Well, yeah, that worked out well. But that's a bit naughty, isn't it? That's a bit naughty, I think. But yeah, so that suggests the manager himself is suggesting here that Millwall saw something in the medical and they weren't happy about it. Now, they could have. Did they see that and say, no, the deal's off, sorry, we can't do the deal? There's a problem with the strength in your leg. It's not strong enough. If we buy you, we're going to have to do extra training and not play you for a couple of things till your leg gets better and then we can play you. So, or did they highlight that and say, well, we need to have a look at the deal because this is a problem? And then they said, well, the deal's a deal, take it or lump it. And we all said, well, we're not going to take it, so cheery bye, thank you, adios. That could have been the situation. But so this is it from the Hibernian manager himself suggesting that he quote unquote failed the medical. So it was a term. It was true. It's not it's not baseless rumours. There was something wrong with his medical, and you could say he failed his medical. There was an anomaly in his medical which needed to be worked through, and it wasn't. So he went back up to Hibernian, and now he's played. He played 20 minutes at the weekend, and he's played 24 minutes tonight, and he's got injured. So we dodged a bullet with that one, didn't we? So everyone wants to criticise Millwall, the team at Millwall behind the scenes, but the medical staff there got their head screwed on, and they seem to have made the right call. So fair play to them, because we would have been paying a lot of money for a player to be out injured, which we can't afford to be doing that. So, moving on to this from millfc.co.uk. It's the match report for the under 21s game that was played yesterday. But I brought you the match report yesterday from Charlton end. Millwall under 21s drew 3-3 with Charlton Athletic in the Professional Development League on Monday afternoon. The Lions slipped to a 2-0 deficit at Princes Park, but after the arrears shortly before the half-time break as Seb Droz netted from the penalty spot. A trialist then got Kevin Nisbet's side back on level terms 7 minutes into the second half, but with the Alex going back into the lead for 75 minutes, it looked as though defeat would be suffered. Chinockley, however, popped up with the equaliser 4 minutes into stoppage time to ensure a share of the spoils. Next up for Millwall's under 21s is a home game, Queen's Park Rangers on Tuesday, 7th of February, and at the time of recording, that game is set to be at Millwall's training ground, so again, not a game that can be attended. Now we have a team. So the team, there's a few seem under 18s making their way into the team. Obviously, we've got a few players leaving. Muller and Bez have gone, and Shamar Lawson's out on loan at Maidstone. So it is time for the under 18 to step up into that. Remain SA obviously involved in the first team squad. Wonder if that will continue now that we signed these extra players. Who knows? But because I brought in a match report from Charlton Athletic, they actually named the trialist, and the trialist was Frankie Hvid, who I think was the lad who's playing with number 4. I think he's a centre back. So, but the Mill team was Wright, Walker, Aidomo Emakhu, trialist Frankie Hvid, Grant, Ockley, Cotton, Penny, Leahy, Abdul-Malik, and Drozd. The subs were Hearn for Grant on the 81st minute and Coleman for Cotton on the 88th minute. The subs not used were Evans, McKay, and Massey. Right? So that's done. Now, so Frankie Hvid is the trialist. Now, who is Frankie Hvid? Well, Frankie Hvid is a defender out of Bromley in London. And he's been very prominent in Bromley FC's under 18s FA Youth Cup run. They start very early in that competition because they're a non-league team. So they have to win quite a few games to get through to the rounds. This game here that's on the screen now, I believe, is against Ipswich Town. They lost it 2-1, but Frankie scored a goal, and he scored yesterday for Millwall. But we conceded 3 goals, so is he a good defender? I don't know. That's up for Kevin Nugent and the Mill coaching staff to decide. Maybe try and take him on. But in January, on 14th of January, he played in a game for Wolves under 18s. So he was obviously on trial there. and he's seems to be on trial at Millwall now. So kind of interesting. Frankie Hvid, he scored quite a few goals. So obviously playing for their under 18 suggests he's like either 18 or 17. He's also been playing a few games, started a few games for Bromley's under 23s, which is basically the reserve team. They play in a men's suburban league, playing either Friday night or Saturday lunchtimes, and he's played in that as well. So not bad. Kind of interesting is like B-side Topology's gone to Bromley, so obviously we're now looking at taking Frankie Hvid from Bromley to replace him being like 4 years younger than B-side Topology. So kind of interesting. Wonder if we do end up signing him or not. Obviously, he knows where the goal is. He's pretty decent at scoring. Just I wasn't really taking that much of interest in terms of the general play and his defending if he is any good. So here we go. So obviously this is from bromleyfc.co.uk, and he's mentioned here he's actually the captain of the under 18s team. So obviously a player with some pedigree. So not bad. We'll keep an eye on that and see what happens. And talking of players that we're keeping an eye on, we mentioned earlier, Aidomo Emakhu. Here we are, irishmirror.ie. I think someone at the Irish Mirror has figured out that if they write a story about Millwall, they get a hell of a lot of people clicking on it. Because here we go again. Good news for former Shamrock Rovers striker as he prepares to return from injury. Former Shamrock Rovers striker Aidomo Emakhu was hit with an injury blow shortly after completing his move from the Tallaght Stadium side to Millwall. In the video yesterday for Oliver Burke in the training ground, they had put a little montage together. There's a bit where he's shaking the players' hands in the training room, and one of the players was Aidomo Emakhu. So he's obviously back in training, doing a few things. Probably maybe he's like just doing like upper body or something, just keeping himself not just sitting on his ass like a couch potato. Or maybe he is back in training. I don't know, but they reckon. I don't know if they have inside information here. So former Shamrock Rovers striker Aidomo Emakhu is closing in on a return to fitness at Millwall. The 19-year-old is yet to make an appearance for his new side, having injured his quad in training just weeks after making the move from Tallaght Stadium. However, he has been penciled in for a comeback with the club's under-21 side next Tuesday against QPR. Where's that? But then they go on to quote Gary Rowett, the Gary Rowett story that I told you before, the injury update from Southern News. At the moment, I think we're alright. I don't think there are too many not training to lines what's Gary Rowett. It's more or less Tyler and Aidomo are the ones that are out. And that's it. But he doesn't say, oh, Aidomo, we might play him in the QPR under 21 game. So I don't know where they got that from. Maybe from the lad himself. I don't know. Emakhu made the move to Millwall when the January transfer window opened after an impressive spell at Rovers both in the League of Ireland and in Europe. And that's it. So there's not much there, but they write it up and put it up, and they got Millwall in the title. You can see here, look. Sport, Soccer, Millwall FC. It's the Irish Mirror. Why are they writing about Millwall? Because they know you're going to click on it. And you're probably doing... Did they have top stories here? No, they just got recommended, so... I wonder if they do have a top stories, most read. So it's not there. Okay, that's interesting, but... Yeah, I think they know. Because Millwall do have a lot of fans, and Millwall a lot of fans know how to read. Believe it or not. So they would click on this and be interested in it, which is why I'm showing you. So there you go. So yeah, the Irish Mirror. So expect more stuff in the Irish Mirror. I think they figured that out. That putting Millwall in a story will give them the clicks that they need. And on that note, thank you for watching and goodbye.